Lords. These guys are all lords, the main protagonists who fight for justice, the wheel around which each Fire Emblem game spins, the people who... what you doing here? I told you lords only, how'd you even get in here? Back to the shelf!
What you say?
Alright, there we go. My man, I'm sorry, but you're just a mage, you're not even a lord. That means you can't be in this video, but I still love you. Now, give me a kiss. Come here. What is up, Fire Emblem fans? Roy here, and today we are counting down my top 10 favorite Fire Emblem Lords. I can't tell you how hard it was to make this list because every person on this list seems like someone from my childhood. I mean, most of these are just going to be sheer nostalgia playing into the factor. Gosh, there's so many awesome lords in Fire Emblem, and I'm doing this really by nostalgia, so you might be surprised by who winds up where, and it's going to be really awesome, guys. I hope you're excited, and don't forget, after the video, comment down below who are your top 10 favorite lords. I can't wait to hear it. All these characters are just so great and all creatively and cleverly made with their personalities, so I cannot wait to count down the top 10 Fire Emblem Lords. Here we go. We're starting off with quite a recent entrant, being Lucina from Fire Emblem Awakening. And a lot of people don't realize this because I pretend to act like I don't like Lucina, but I actually do really like Lucina as a character in Fire Emblem Awakening. She's a really cool character. She time travels. That's really cool. I'm like, one of my biggest things I'm really into is time travel. I think it's like the coolest thing ever. I think that's really cool. I mean, I think she's just really cool. I like her personality and that she comes from like a pretty bad timeline. She was able to survive in like this Armageddon place, and she's trying to come back and change it all. It's really cool. Some Terminator 2 stuff right there. But what I really like about her is that you can tell that she's been through some pretty grim stuff and that she's trying to change it all. And I think she is really cool. She's a really cool fighter too. And that when you upgrade her, she gets that arm shield that looks really awesome, the Fire Emblem kind of thing. It's really awesome. I really like Lucina. Coming in at number 9 is Erica from Fire Emblem and the Sacred Stones. Erica was from my second Fire Emblem game that I got from the Game Boy Advance, and my second Fire Emblem game ever. And I really enjoyed Sacred Stones. And one of my favorite characters was Erica because of how much she evolves as a character and grows over the course of time. She starts out as this very shy person who doesn't like to fight, and by the end she's a beast taking down dragons 5 at a time. I mean, it's really cool to see, and it's not just instantly, okay, now I'm like super awesome and I'm gonna kill dragons. It's a slow transition, and it shows you how she becomes like that. And Sacred Stones is really good at that. They're really good at character development. And the thing is, she's holding down the fort. She's trying to reclaim her kingdom while her brother is leading a rebellion of 3 people against the kingdom and crushing them. And she's like holding down the fort, worried and sick about him. She's just a really awesome character. And that's one thing Sacred Stones did really well. It evolved their characters. And Erica was no exception to that statement. He has blue hair, one single blade, and a kingdom to avenge. No, not Marth. No, not him either. There we go, it's Chrom from Fire Emblem Awakening. Chrom is an awesome lord because he's not your average Boy Scout, okay, I'm a good guy, I'm gonna go stop the bad guys. No. He has made mistakes in his past life, and he's just a really cool character because he has made mistakes and now he's making amends, coming back, and he's not the perfect person either. He's stupid, he makes mistakes. He lets people join him, and he's too nice, and he's too trusting, and he has flaws. That's what I like about this. Early Fire Emblem games were like, okay, this guy's a prince, and he's good, go fight the baddies. But now, new technology and everything that we have nowadays, we can build better characters, and Chrom is one of those characters that are built so well and changes throughout the story. Like I said for Erica, he evolves throughout the game. It's really cool to see him happen like that. It's really awesome. I like the timeline of Awakening. It takes a long time. It's over the course of a few years. And over the course of a few years, people change. And Chrom does change. It's awesome. Generally, Fire Emblem Lords wield swords. Sword, 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 fire sword, sword. And, you know, it's really cool and all. I love swords. Swords are probably like the coolest weapon in the world. I love them. But it's nice to change it up every once in a while. And Frame changed it from a sword to a spear. And he uses it epically. Like, when I first played Fire Emblem the Sacred Stones, it was only my second Fire Emblem game. I was used to lords using swords. That rhymed. But I was used to a lot of people using swords, and when I popped in at the dentist's office and I popped open my Game Boy, I was sitting there playing some Sacred Stones. I was like, ooh, I finally get to meet Frame, and he pulls out a spear, and I was like,
oh my god!
That is epic! It's so cool, the way he uses the spear. It's so unique. And what's awesome about Frame is he's already well trained in how to fight. All you hear for like 5 to 10 chapters of Sacred Stones is Frame is doing this. With 3 soldiers, he is holding down an entire empire. He's rebelling and taking it down. 3 soldiers, not including himself, so 4 people are taking down an empire. That's how good at strategy he is, and that's how good at fighting he is. That's what's awesome about Frame is he knows how to use guerrilla warfare, and that's one thing you don't see a lot in Fire Emblem, but Frame brings it. He brings the guerrilla warfare all the way. It's really awesome to see that happen in a Fire Emblem game. Okay guys, this next lord is really unique. He's a blue-haired prince fighting for his country against evil. God! Intelligence system, what is with you and your blue-haired princes? Anyways, our next up is Hector from Fire Emblem, also known as Fire Emblem Blazing Sword, or Fire Emblem Reki no Ken in Japan. Gosh, how many names do they need for the one game? Anyways, Hector is an awesome lord because there's really nothing wrong with his life. He's got the perfect life. He's a prince, both parents, whole family intact. Nothing's gone wrong for him. And he's helping out his friend. He selflessly goes to help his friend whose father is missing. And along the way meets Lynn and a bunch of other people, and they all become friends. And then years down the line, he starts fighting one of the worst wars known to man. And I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything, but he is just the ultimate warrior, and he uses an axe instead of a sword, which I always thought was the coolest thing ever. And he'll also use swords, and his sword sprite is really cool, the giant blue center. It's really cool. Hector is a really cool dude because he doesn't really change much because he never really needed to. He's still a little hot-headed, but he's still really awesome at the same time. Hector's just overall a pretty cool guy, and he definitely deserves a spot on this list. Can you sense a Fire Emblem GBA biased? Cause I totally can. Because number 5 is Lyn, or Lindis from Fire Emblem Reki no Ken, aka GBA. We already went through this. Anyways, Lyn is one of the 3 lords that you can play in Fire Emblem GBA. And she's really awesome. She is one of the best female lords, I think, ever, because she's like a ninja. She creates like 5 versions of herself. She goes so fast, and then just slashes. It's really cool. And her sword is really unique. It's not like a giant sword, it's just like a katana named a Mani-Katti. And what I really like about Lyn is like just that how confident she is, and how she's like, her story is really cool because it serves as the tutorial for Fire Emblem in general. And her story is basically, she is a long lost relative of a king who died, so therefore the throne of a kingdom is hers, but the uncle is trying to kill her off because he wants the crown. So it's a really cool story, and then she integrates with Eliwood and Hector's stories. So I really like how she's with all 3 stories and not just one, and that's really cool. The end has come for Fire Emblem GBA's glory on this list. Eliwood is number 4. Eliwood is Roy's father. There's no way he was not going to make it on my list because of my extreme biasness towards Roy. Anyways, Eliwood is really awesome. I remember when I first got this game, I thought he was Roy for some reason, and his name was just translated wrong. Oh man, I was really stupid back then, but he's such an awesome character, because it's not like he's going to save his country, he's going to stop evil. No, he's gonna go find his dad, and he doesn't know bigger things are planned for him, that he's going to eventually stop a genocide of humanity. And it's really cool that he does all that. Not to mention, he was my first Fire Emblem Lord ever. Usually you get Lyn in this game, but something went wrong, and I got Eliwood instead first. So that's a huge nostalgia bomb every time I look at him. How did I first learn about Fire Emblem? Well, like a lot of you, through Smash Brothers. And through Smash Brothers, I met Marth, who I had no idea who he was. Granted, I was young, so I thought he was from some other game. I didn't know he was from some Japan-only game called Fire Emblem until I looked at his trophy. I got intrigued. A few years later, got Fire Emblem. And, oh man, I just think Marth is really awesome. For years now, I thought Marth is like the cool, calm, collected, like very wise guy, but I learned the translation in the Did You Know Gaming, and he's the complete opposite. He like wants attention. Not to mention, his whole kingdom was destroyed. I mean, that's tough. And he has to fight against the Dragon Lord and the people who betrayed his kingdom. He has a lot to handle, and he does it all. Not to mention, he was the first Fire Emblem Lord ever. He was in the first Fire Emblem game. And I just think that Marth overall is a pretty good character. Not too Boy Scout, yet not too anti-Boy Scout. A lot of you probably already know my number one character, or at least you thought you did, as my number two character is Roy from Fire Emblem, the Binding Blade. Now I want to make something very clear really quickly. This is not my favorite characters of Fire Emblem, just my favorite lords. I'm not judging them on my favoriteness of them or my nostalgia of them, but more on how much I love them as lords, and how they are as lords themselves. So that is why Roy is at number 2. Roy is pretty much your cookie cutter prince. He's Boy Scout all the way, but he's done very well with it. And he has all the qualities to become that perfect protagonist. And the way they do it with him, it's not overdone, it's not overbaked. He's very clever, he's not full brute force, just charge in and fight. He uses like his tactics, and he figures out ways out of sticky situations, which is really awesome. Like for instance, when he's trapped inside the castle, what's he gonna do? He's gonna go around the hallways. It's really awesome like that, and he doesn't go straight through the quarter. And Roy went through some tough times. I mean, to be a 14-year-old leading a whole entire army against an empire, that's pretty darn awesome. And then to wield a magic fire sword to fight dragons, Roy just straight up awesome. A lot of you probably thought you had it figured out. My name is Roy Boy. I mean, you really thought Roy was going to be my number one lord. But remember, I'm judging these people based on how they act as a lord, not as their characters themselves. So, Marth isn't number 1, Eliwood isn't number 1, Chrom isn't number 1, Roy is not number 1. Who could it be? A lot of you probably figured it out already. Or a lot of you are saying, no way would I choose this character to be my number 1 Fire Emblem Lord. Well guys, Ike is my number 1 Fire Emblem Lord. Half of this decision is purely personal, but I will give a few good reasons as to why Ike is deserving of this spot. Ike is one of the few Fire Emblem Lords who is not a prince or a royalty of any kind, and that's really rare. I thought that was awesome. He's just a mercenary, not even a big mercenary, just a small-time mercenary who gets jobs every now and then. But soon, once the mantle is passed to him to run the mercenary group, he is hired by the royalty to help the princess save the kingdom. I'm not spoiling too much, but man, does he have a lot to live up to. He has to fight the hardest he's ever fought before to save a whole entire continent from breaking out into a world war. Talk about pressure. Ike is just one of the most awesome lords ever, and the way he uses his sword is very unique. Most of the lords are, but Ike's is just so unique. Ike is not my favorite Fire Emblem character, but as far as lords go, he is one of the best as they come. Overall, guys, Fire Emblem is a series full of colorful characters. Not excluding lords, I mean every character in this game has such a personality. I don't know how they were able to do this. And counting down my top 10 favorite lords from every game of Fire Emblem I've played was a tough thing to do. In the end, I'm pretty happy with how the list turned out, and I hope you guys are too. What's your top 10 lords? I really want to hear this. This is going to be awesome. Comment down below. I hope you guys are enjoying Fire Emblem Month here on the channel. Be sure to go check out a few of my other Fire Emblem Month videos down below. I'll see y'all later. Have a great day. Keep on strategizing. Thank you guys so much for watching my list. As I said earlier, please feel free to put your list down below. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say. And before you go, be sure to check out my Fire Emblem parody of the fighter, the Shepherd. It's an awesome parody. I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you want to see something else, I have a video where I am literally inside the Fire Emblem GBA games. It's really awesome. Anyways, guys, Fire Emblem Month is so huge. I'm so glad you all are having so much fun with it, as Fire Emblem is such a great series. I'll see you all later. Have a great day. Goodbye.